President Donald Trump is taking over the United States Postal Service and possibly making some gigantic changes. Hey, what's going on, Rockstars? Welcome to the channel. Today's going to be a double video because two very serious topics of conversation, as you saw from the title in my intro, are happening. Milo saying hi again as the introduction. You can see at 4.5 months, he is as tall as the island and as big as he possibly can be. Good boy, buddy. Go ahead. Go play. Donald Trump, President of the United States, considering taking control of the U.S. Postal Service. That sounds crazy, right? But bear with me here, whether you're a Trump supporter or not, I'm going to hit both sides of this. So let me tell you what's going on, and let me tell you what it's going to mean for your package delivery as a reseller or everyday packages. So there's a report rumored by 6 inside sources. This is not confirmed, mind you, and in fact, the White House put out a notice today, February 21st, 2025, that this is in fact not true, not what's going to happen. The report says that President Trump, as early as this coming week, of course it's Friday, the end of the week, could issue an executive order to fire the board of directors of the United States Postal Service and merge the USPS into control of the Commerce Department and Secretary Howard Lutnick. The U.S. government would take over the United States Postal Service, which is actually sort of just an arm of the government, right? It's not actually the government. It is, but it isn't. Read up on it. Anyhow, Trump and the White House are denying this is true. When Trump was asked about taking the post office private, he confirmed that that was a great idea. He didn't say he was going to executive order this into the United States government Commerce Department. So there's two different things there. One is the government takes over. The second option is a private company. I'm going to go start a private company called Amazing Deliveries Incorporated, and Trump's going to hire me to take over all the post office thing. Like, that's sort of what it is. And there was rumors that Jeff Bezos and Amazon could be the ones to do it since they're already set up in that field and that they are the most experienced, which is true. Or that possibly the UPS or FedEx or some of those combinations could handle it. Even UPS uses the United States Postal Service in a lot of rural towns for its last mile delivery. So if you don't know, the post office guarantees delivery to every single person in this country, regardless of how off the beaten path you live. That is a guarantee under the United States Postal Service clauses. The problem with that is it is not profitable. It costs more money to deliver to a lot of those towns and cities and rural places than it makes in money. And because of that, the U.S. Postal Service lost $6.5 billion a year ago, or 2 years ago, and they lost $9.5 billion last year. They are very, very net negative. They actually produced a positive quarter just this past quarter, but it is the first quarter in almost 3 years that they've had a positive. But overall, for the entire year, they are negative. Almost $10 billion. That's insane. Even though the Postal Service wasn't created to turn a profit, they were created to deliver our mail and get everything out. You can't continue to operate at a negative and think that you're going to stick around, government or otherwise. Unless we, say, okay, we're just going to pump money into this. It doesn't make sense. But people do need their mail because in addition to that junk mail we all get and love, you get important stuff. There could be mail-in ballots. There could be bills. There could be all this stuff that people are talking about. Now, a lot of it we don't have to do via regular mail, but we take for granted that you and I can open our computer and access our email and find all our bills and all this stuff and pay the bills. There's some people that can't do that. Maybe they don't have computer. Maybe they're not computer literate. Maybe they don't have the money to have the technology. There's a lot of reasons why the mail is still important, and I understand that. I'm not going to argue with that. But operating at a $10 billion loss is not sustainable. And so the plan to take it private, that's a problem because if a private company sees that Billy Joe lives out on a farm 100 miles off the road, and it's not profitable to send them their mail, they're not going to do it. They're not going to keep that guarantee that every person gets mail, whether it's profitable or not. And so this is a huge, huge issue. Again, nothing's confirmed because Trump and the White House are saying they're not issuing an executive order to take over the post office. They are still open to privatizing it, but they are not issuing an executive order, at least not yet or now, to privatize or to take the post office into control of the White House and the Commerce. Now, DeJoy, who was the former, Louis DeJoy, was the Postmaster General. He was the dude in charge of everything. He stepped down earlier this week, right? 8 years ago, at the end of Trump's last, or at the beginning of Trump's last, he took over. Trump appointed him. He's not been a good USPS headmaster. He hasn't stopped them from losing money. He put in a lot of stuff that people think is controversial. Not a very favorable guy. Trump didn't do a good job with him. I'll fully admit it. I don't get political on this channel. I don't care. But it's not a good pick. DeJoy is terrible. I'm just going to put that out there. So this is where the story's at right now, and everybody and their brother is reporting it. I don't think he's going to executive order taking over the post office. That's just not going to happen. If it happens, I'd be really surprised, and I'll come on here and tell you I was wrong, but I just don't see it happening. The problem is taking it private, other than not guaranteeing services to some people. Do you know how long it would take for somebody to get set up, unless it's an Amazon or somebody that's already in the sector, to get set up to take over all of our mail, to have that security clearance, to have those employees, to have those systems, to have everything in place? That's kind of sounds staggering, right? Like, could that actually happen? I don't know. But I think something has to change, right? So if we think back to shipping t-shirts for $2.50 up to where we're now shipping them for $5 and $6, the USPS was way cheaper than UPS and FedEx, but they were not making money, and because they were so cheap, they realized it, and they had to keep increasing their prices. And they figured in their mindset, we can keep increasing prices as long as we're still cheaper than UPS or FedEx, which were like $7, $8 to ship a shirt, then we can keep increasing those prices and nobody can do anything about it because they're still going to use us because we're the cheapest. Well, now they're almost not the cheapest. For heavier packages, bulk packages, wholesale, it's cheaper to use UPS, to go through Pirate Ship, to go through other services. And even that Ground Advantage, when we moved from first class to Ground Advantage, me to ship a basic t-shirt is like $5 to $6, right? Like, I don't ever see $4 labels unless it's like 1, 2, 3 ounce packages up to 4 ounces. The minute I'm above 4 ounces, it's $5 to $6, right? Even if it's close by, Florida, Georgia, Florida, North Carolina, it's still $5. We're almost to where they're as much as UPS. I did a UPS label for a Florida to Tennessee t-shirt the other day. I think it was 8 ounces, and it was like $6.90, right? Like, it was like $6.90. We're almost there on the USPS level. In some cases, in long distance, it is the same amount or more. So it isn't always cheapest to go with the USPS, and now they're realizing they can't go much higher with their prices. They're just going to keep losing customers. So what do we do? Do we go private? Is there somebody like a Jeff Bezos or somebody else? I don't know about him. I'm not a fan of Bezos in the least bit. I don't mind some of his stuff, but I don't like some of his stuff also. Is there somebody who can take it over and do it better? Is there somebody who can do it cheaper? Is there somebody that can give us better service without losing packages? Better response to our lost and damaged packages? Is there a better option than when we're at where we're at now? Whether you like Trump or you don't like Trump, whatever side of the political form you're on, it doesn't matter. I think he has a good point in that we need to do a better job. Not that his way is the better way, or that privatizing is the best way, or that the Department of Commerce taking over the post office is the best way. Just simply that we need a better way. And I think whatever side of the political aisle you're on, I think we can all agree that the post office is good. It does a good job. I don't get a lot of lost packages, hardly ever, like one in the last 2 years, right? I don't get damaged. I've never had a damaged one that I can remember. The prices are reasonable. They're not great, but they're reasonable, at least compared to UPS and FedEx, they're good. I just think there's a better way. I think the post office losing $10 billion this year or more is bad. I think the way they handle a lot of stuff is bad. I think all this junk and spam mail is bad. My post office mailbox is full of it constantly. I just think there's a better way. Does Trump know the better way? I don't know. Is it privatizing? Is it eating it up into the government? That's above my pay grade. I'm not sure how it's going to, pan out. But all we can do is wait and see. The problem is if he makes an unprecedented, crazy order and things get changed and shook up right away, this isn't just a package costs 50 cents more to deliver. This is a huge change, or could potentially be a huge change depending on what happens. And I don't know what to think of this. I'm not saying Trump's good or bad in any direction for doing this. I think he's right for thinking there needs to be a change. None of us like change. Humans are always, adverse, reactive to change. But something has to change with the post office, our shipping, the rates going up, the insurance, all this stuff. The post office is 200 and some odd years old. At what point do we find a way to do it better? That's my opinion. That's my thoughts. It's not a pro-Trump. It's not an against Trump. It's not for or against Republicans, Democrats, or otherwise. It's simply common sense. Things have to change. The old intro to my videos were everything changes. I had to take it off for copyright reasons, even though I had the license to use it. But everything changes, and at some point, everything has to change. As always, I'll leave it open to you guys. Put your comments below. What do you think should happen? Is Trump right? Is he wrong? Is he crazy? Is he right to maybe think it needs a change, but his solution isn't right? I want to hear it down below. What should happen to the United States Postal Service, our shipping, our packages going in and out? How should we handle it? No matter what you think of Trump, he's got a point. And I think it's fair to say that we need to find that answer, whether it's with him or somebody else. So I'll listen to you guys. I want to hear it from you down below. As always, thank you for watching. Thanks for taking your time out. Hit that like button. It helps the YouTube algorithm. Tells me that you like the videos, you enjoy it, and come back and watch future videos. I have a second one that is incredibly important, as big as this story or bigger. Hit the subscribe button. You'll get a notice when I put it out later today, and hopefully you come back and watch that video. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. And until next time, I'll see you later.